Well, believe it or not, Channel 1 actually talked about some crime. What a shock! Stop the presses! Spectrum's actually covering crime! Okay, so let's stay on topic here. So this is what they had this morning, and I heard about this one on 1010 Wins this morning, but there are a lot of serious stuff going on, and obviously, they actually did put some videos up, believe it or not, about the crime story. So we will watch the Channel 1 report on the 14-year-old that did get stabbed yesterday. And I was in Long Island. I'm not going to say where I was yesterday, but let's just say I was all over the place in Nassau County yesterday. But in any regard, let's lead off with something the Channel 1 didn't talk about, and that is this. So we're going to start with this one first, because no local media has really covered this one. So an elderly woman was slammed to the ground in Jackson Heights. So where did this happen in Jackson Heights? So here we go. This happened, yes, 2 weeks ago, June 27th. Here we go. Police in the 115th precinct are looking for a man who approached the victim after 8 p.m. at the rear of 78-1230 Fifth Avenue and engaged her in a verbal dispute. The conflict escalated and the suspect suddenly grabbed the 70-year-old woman and threw her to the ground. The woman sustained injury to her elbows and knees and was taken to NYC Health Elmhurst Hospital in stable condition. The assailant took off on foot in an unknown direction, police said. So we do have a video from Crime Stoppers and a suspect description, so here we go. The suspect was last seen with gray hair and a beard and was last seen wearing a blue short sleeve. Yeah, here we go. Let's just wait for the video to load. Blue and white striped shorts and white sneakers. Yeah, so this is a pretty good view of the suspect. I mean, seriously. I mean, this is a felony assault. And of course, Channel 1 decides to put this one off. But again, at least they talked about some of the crimes. So let's see, where in Jackson Heights is this? Oh, no surprise. Right by Roosevelt Avenue, see? Jackson Heights Roosevelt's right there. Yeah, I don't exactly know where this is. Yep, not too far from where the BQE is. Alright, so let's get to the other stories. I do want to get to what happened in Coney Island first. So this is how we're going to organize it. So what happened in Coney Island, you may be wondering? Well, there was a beach party. 5 people injured. So here we go. Police said the unidentified shooter opened fire on a large gathering near the Riggleman Boardwalk in West 21st Street at about 2 a.m. on July 10th. The motive for the shooting remains unknown and under investigation at this time, law enforcement sources said. Officers from the 60th Precinct, in responding to reports of the shooting, found 3 victims at the scene. 2 women aged 26 and 27 with gunshot wounds to their legs, and a 36-year-old man shot in the chin. The victims were taken to NYU Langone Hospital in Brooklyn, where they were in stable condition. So not too far from where the amusement park is. Yep. I exactly know where this is. Yep. Police later learned that 2 other shooting victims arrived at private means at Coney Island Hospital. One victim, a 31-year-old man, was shot in the back, was listed in critical condition, while the second individual, a 19-year-old man, was shot in the leg, remains in stable condition. So far, no arrest, and no surprise there. So, another serious, oh, look at this, another stabbing in Brooklyn that didn't get covered. So, they focus on the 14-year-old, but they're not going to talk about, another stabbing. So, where did this happen? Let's read this one. So this happened on, the day after July 4th. Look at that. Why didn't Channel 1 cover this one? So, as I said, we are going to get to the news that Channel 1 did cover, at least. According to police, at 6:05 p.m. on July 5th, Tuesday, a 55-year-old man was standing at the entrance of the Chase Street Metrotech station in downtown Brooklyn, where he was approached by an unknown male. Unprovoked, the suspect threatened to harm the victim and proceeded to punch him in the face. The suspect then pulled out a large knife and stabbed the victim twice in the back and once in the face. The suspect then fled into the subway station. So are you kidding me? This happened right by the turnstiles. Paramedics took the victim to NY Presbyterian Brooklyn Methodist Hospital in stable condition. Oh, hang on. I think Channel 7 covered this. Yeah, now I remember. Yeah, they showed his face on Channel 7. Now I remember, because this was brought up on one of the 4 p.m. newscasts this week. Okay, so we do have a good look at the suspect. The suspect is described as a 40-year-old man with a dark complexion, standing 6 feet tall, and weighing 250 pounds with a fat build. He was last seen wearing a gray Adidas sweatshirt, dark-colored jeans, and black boots. Uh-oh. Sweatshirt, so he's probably homeless. Yeah, because if they're not dressed for the weather, that's a sign that that person's homeless. Because I know the signs, trust me. We've had that in downtown Bayside on Bell Boulevard before. And then, of course, this got ignored too. Serious crash by the Williamsburg Bridge. Here we go, brief summary of it. It's happened early yesterday morning. Here we go. 4:10:11 a.m. The motorcyclist was driving down the off-ramp of the bridge to the BQE going east at 4:11 a.m. The motorcyclist careened into the roadway barrier wall and struck a light pole. A 25-year-old man was ejected from the Yamaha bicycle onto the road and suffered severe injuries. Paramedics pronounced him dead at the scene, according to NYPD. So, obviously, because of HIPAA, we are not allowed to know the man's identity. But, again, you think that maybe Loud Labs or somebody would cover this, but apparently not. So, there you go. Another sign of the neglectful media. Okay, so let's get to what Channel 1 actually did cover. And first of all, I will mention that I was watching Channel 1's newscast at 11 p.m. last night. And, you know, what doesn't make any sense, I got home at 11 o'clock last night. And don't ask why I got home late, but I got home late. 2, 4, 7, and then Channel 5 began their newscast late because of the Yankee Red Sox game. But all of them led off with this story, but apparently, Channel 1 decides to talk about coronavirus. I mean, really. Alright, somebody threatened to kill the police commissioner and the governor. Alright, this is a more serious story. I understand that cases are going back up, but for crying out loud. Alright, it's been 2 years. The only way you go back into shutdown again is if the hospitalizations go up. God, the media has their priorities wrong. So here we go. Well, especially Spectrum's case. So here we go. Police involved shooting. So there was one in Brooklyn and there was one in Queens. So let's get to the one in Queens first, because that was the more serious one. Okay, so here we go. In St. Albans, 6:25 p.m. at 205-17 116th Avenue. So that's right by Francis Lewis Boulevard. Yep. So the suspect is dead. Police officer was taken to the hospital. So here we go. Sources said the officers returned fire, killing the suspect with a barrage of bullets. Several officers were taken to a nearby hospital for ringing in their ears and high blood pressure. So, according to this, we have Brass Chief of Patrol Jeff Mattery and Chief of Transit Jason Wilcox speaking from the scene. According to Mattery, the NYPD received several 911 calls from the suspect who threatened to made threats to elected officials, including Governor Kathy Hochul, and of course threatening to kill NYPD Police Commissioner Keechant Sewell. So, here we go. And I think this is going to be my thumbnail today. So here we go. The sergeant from the 113 responded with multiple units, said Mattery. He clearly stated that he was going to blow a head off the first police officer he saw. So, 6 officers returned fire. So, there you go. I mean, again, this is what goes on when you don't address mental health issues. Time and time again. So, And this is what Kathy Hochul doesn't realize, that somebody almost tried to assassinate her last night. So is Kathy Hochul going to repeal bail reform after this? No, she wouldn't care. No. And again, it's wrong to threaten violence against anyone. I'm going to say that right now. It is wrong to threaten violence against anyone. And certain people know who they are when I have talked about this in the past. And again, you know my view. I'd rather would see Kathy Hochul go into retirement, and maybe Kathy Hochul goes to Florida and complains about liberalism down there and complains about Ron DeSantis. But again, that's a whole different story. So here we go. Then let's talk about the shooting in Brooklyn. Here we go. Nevin Street and Flatbush Avenue. Oh, yes, I know exactly where this is. Not too far from where Mill Basin is. You really cannot make this stuff up, folks. Unmarked vehicle will stop the gold Nissan. The officers reported interacting with several occupants. Here we go. The front passenger did take off. Then what happened was the suspect allegedly spun around on Rockwell Place and Lafayette Avenue, drew a handgun, and fired shots. So the gunman later died. So both incidents, it seems that in Brooklyn and in Queens, just comes to show that what's going on here. And obviously, I'm not going to play the Channel 1 video because they didn't even bother to send a reporter. Okay, so now what we're going to do last, and I figured, this was a good report. Don't get me wrong. Channel 1 did a good job this morning covering what happened. So I just want to make sure that we have my virtual audio cable on, so that way you can at least see the video clearly. Okay, here we go. I think this is much better. Let me center it, and I'll just turn my mic off so you can hear the video.
A 14-year-old boy is dead this morning after being stabbed inside a subway station in Harlem. This happened yesterday afternoon at the 137th Street City College subway station. Our Arnold Davik, he is there at the scene this morning with the very latest. Arnold.
Yeah, Rocco, this is a real tragedy, that 14-year-old losing his life after being stabbed here at the 137th Street City College station along the one line here in Hamilton Heights. And this happening all in broad daylight. Police saying this happened around 3 p.m. Saturday. Officers were called to the area on reports of an argument that started on the street and continued down in the train station. When police arrived, they say they found that 14-year-old on the Uptown platform along the one line, bleeding from his stomach area. Now, the teen, who has not yet been identified, we're told was taken to an area hospital where he was pronounced dead around 3:30. Now, police say they took someone into custody yesterday in connection with this incident. Investigators had put out an image of the people who were involved in this fight, and officers up near 173rd Street and Broadway saw an individual matching the description who was bleeding. That's when they took that person into custody. As of now, it's unclear how many people were involved in this dispute and if the person in custody is believed to be the person who landed the fatal blow. But we do know that this was not a random attack. Investigators say the 14-year-old victim knew whoever attacked him. Now, people in the area here near the station where this all happened say the death really is a tragic incident.
It's sad. It's the norm. It's sad. It's just going around and nobody's doing nothing.
I was really scared. I wanted to know more, but then again, we are busy in school and everything, but it really scares us. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. And I don't know why it happened.
Yeah, back here now, this incident has sparked transit advocates to hold a memorial vigil here at the station later this afternoon. That'll happen at 2 p.m. Meanwhile, investigators say they are talking to witnesses, and they ask anyone with information to come forward. That's the latest here in Manhattan. Arnold Davik, New York 1.
Oops, so apparently my microphone was off. do apologize for that. I'm obviously not going to edit that out, but I will mention that because of this incident, Passengers United will be holding a vigil outside of the 137th Street Brooklyn City College Station. Oh, Broadway City College Station. I'm so sorry, an airplane just passed by, but again, I do want to apologize. My schedule's been out of sync, so that's what happens. But yes, 2 p.m. today, 137th Street, Broadway, City College. So that was what Channel 1 was referring to. So let's just refresh their page to see if they're going to do the right thing and at least keep the Coney Island story up. So that's good that they are doing this. I will give them credit. But again, there were other stories ignored. And you know what? That's Channel 1 in a nutshell. You know, there's nothing that we can say or do about it. And again, as long as they are doing what they're doing, I got to keep calling them out. But again, at least they did a good job covering what happened in Hamilton Heights. So I'm going to wrap this up. So thank you for watching. And, you know, this is just going to be another example of what's to come for the rest of the summer. So don't let your guard down. That's it.